Welcome to Tristar. Today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about statements in our accounts receivable software. To start, every customer needs to have a statement profile. To pull up a customer's account, you can enter the customer code in the top right here. And then once that account is pulled up, you can check the statement profile by clicking this button. This will show you what your current statement profile settings for that account is. If you have not set up any statement profiles, what we need to do is go to Maintenance, PDF Statement Parameters. Now this will show all of these statement profiles for all of your customers. You can view them by clicking Edit, and you can add them by clicking Add. If you add them, you will need to find the customer at the top here. You can either pick them from the drop-down or click Update and search for the customer, and then right-click and click Pick this one. What you can also do is mass update all of your customers that do not already have a statement profile. To do that, we're going to look at the None customer, and we're going to go ahead and edit this customer. The None profile will be used as a template for all of your other profiles that you wish to update. If you wish to have a default set for your customers, go ahead and add it to the None profile. So to start, I'm going to choose Make the PDF and email it. This is a delivery method. Every time you print the statement, you can choose to have the statement emailed. You can choose to print it, or you can just make the PDF. Next, you can choose the model name. The model name, for the most part, we're going to stick to 2 models. Each customer can have their own statement models, which will do different things depending on your requests. The None statement model will print the statement with no invoices printing after it. The STMT statement model will print the statement and will also print the individual invoices after the statement. The None and the statement profile generally have the same statement at the beginning. The only difference is whether or not you print individual invoices after the statement has been printed. Next, you can enter the email address that you want the statement to be emailed to. It will only email the statement if you have this first box checked in the delivery method. You can then choose the billing cycle, how often you want the statement to be sent. This is not automated. You will still have to go in and print the statements in order to send them. This ensures that you have the opportunity to import invoices before sending the statement. You can also have a report generated when you print the statement. For now, we're going to ignore this. This is pretty niche. You can also add a customer note when you print your statements. Basically, each customer has a note area where it will log different things like editing the profile, or in this case, printing the statement. We can ignore the transaction history report for now. Most customers will not use it. So I'm going to change for our test the None profile to just make the PDF because I don't want to send emails. And we're going to go ahead and do the STMT statement model so that I can show you what that looks like. We're then going to click OK. Now that we have the None profile set, to add that default profile to all of the other customers, we need to click Just Add the Rest. This will give you a brief description of what you're doing. Basically, it's taking the None statement profile and applying it to all customers that do not already have a statement profile. If a customer already has a statement profile, it will not touch that statement profile or that customer. So I'm going to click OK. And because we're using a already existing database, we can see that no profiles were added because all of the customers in this database already have their own statement profile. Then we can click OK. I would highly recommend that for your default profile, you leave the email address blank unless you want it to send all of the statement emails to yourself. Then you can enter your email address here. I would not put a customer's email in this default profile because then all of your customers that have this profile will get their statements sent to that one customer. You can also change the email that gets sent with the statement. This statement profile is coded in HTML. You can use an HTML editor from generally, if you just Google HTML preview or HTML editor, you will see an HTML editor that can translate this into what it would look like when printing the statement, or excuse me, what it would look like when emailing the statement. We also have a number of variables down here. If you enter the variables, for example, here we have client, this would put the client's name into the email address. The email body is for all customers. It is not specific to one customer. Now that we have our statement profile, we can go ahead and click done. Now what you're going to want to do is you're generally going to want to import all of your invoices before sending the statements. So we can go to file, import Windsurf Plus to get all of our Windsurf Plus invoices imported. We can also do it for WinCopy. Generally, no one who uses our software still uses the original Windsurf, so you will only need to worry about these two options. Now, a lot of customers think that month end and statements are connected. In a sense, they are, where when you run month end, you also generate PDF statements. However, they can also be ran independently of each other. The PDF statements can be ran at any time in the month. Now, when you have a customer's profile pulled up on your screen like this, you are able to click the print statement option. Let's go ahead and get a customer that has some invoices. Now I've gone ahead and added an invoice to this customer. To start, we want to purge open items. This process is also ran when you import invoices into accounts receivable. What this does is it basically says if you have payments and invoices that line up and are assigned to each other, it will remove them from your dashboard and also remove them from your statement. You do not want invoices that have already been paid off to be on your statement. If you do want to print a statement that includes paid items, we can do that for you. However, because it requires some setup, we do charge for that. Typically, it takes 2 to 3 hours of work. So now that we've purged open items and gotten rid of payments with invoices, we can go ahead and print the statement for this customer. When you have the customer on your dashboard and you click the print statement button on your dashboard, this will only print the statement for this customer. It will not print for every customer. That is with this button right here. Once we click that button, we get this window, which has a number of options. The first option is the statement date. Generally, this is only used at the top of your statement to show the date that you printed or whatever date you would like to reflect there. The document date range is the date range that's going to show all invoices on the statement. This is only for the statement. So for the most part, you want the from date to be the beginning of time. You want to show all invoices that are not paid from this date to this date. The re-invoice date range is only used by the STMT model and other models that include invoices after the statement. This date range will choose which invoices are printed after the statement. For example, with the current date range we have selected, even though the invoice we have here is from October, because it is not the current statement, it will not print an individual invoice after the statement. Generally, this is because most customers do not want a statement that includes the individual invoices for invoices they've already seen before. They only want the new ones to be in the invoice section, whereas the statement will still include all that are owed. The email subject line is the subject line for the email if you have the send email selected. The billing cycle refers to the statement profile. If you have somebody that you want to send a statement to every week, then when you go to print PDF statements, you would choose the weekly option, and it would only generate statements for the customers that have the weekly option selected. When you do month end, generally you want all billing cycles to be selected. The branches is the same. You generally want all of your branches selected, unless you are an office that will only send invoices to the customers of that office. Now, there are two areas that look very similar. One is the select one delivery method and the use these delivery methods. The first option, select one delivery method, will only select customers that have this option selected. You should think of this first option as a filter. The second option, which is use these delivery methods, is more of an override. It will ignore whatever is on the statement profile, and instead it will use this check mark or this checkbox for the statement when you print. These skip negative accounts will not generate statements for customers that have overpaid or that have a negative balance on their statement. The model name, again, this is an override, so it will ignore whatever is on the statement profile and it will print with whichever model you have selected. The include history is only used if you have set up the paid statement profiles. Again, this is not included with accounts receivable. It is something that gets added on because there is some setup that we have to do. So now that I've gotten all of this set, and I do want to show you the example of this invoice printing after, so we're going to go ahead and change the date range. We can then click OK. Now, our statements have not been printed yet. Next, now that we've set our settings, we're going to be able to view this statement printer program, and we can either select which customers that we want to choose by removing this checkbox, or we can click the checkbox again to ensure that all customers get printed that are in this window. We can then click print, and it will print our statements. Since we have print to PDF selected, once this is finished, what we can do is we can click the PDF button on our dashboard, this red button right here, and it will open our PDF folder. This folder will include all of the statements that were just printed, as well as any old ones. You can check by the date it was modified. Once you print your current statement, it will override any old statements. Therefore, if you wish to save your statements, you need to save them to another place on your computer where they will not be overridden, such as another folder. You will not be able to go back and print the statement with the same exact information a second time. Once an invoice has been paid, it will no longer show on invoices unless you have the paid invoice upgrade. Even then, the invoice will not look exactly the same, as the paid invoices will include all paid invoices within that date range, whereas your first statement may not have included some invoices that were already paid for that date range. So if we double click this, we can see our statement is printed. The first page is the statement, and then after that is the invoice. So this is what an individual invoice looks like, and this is what a statement looks like. You can change these via a ticket, and depending on how much work is involved, it may be included in your free model work, or there may be a charge if we think it will take more than your support time that you have allocated. Now that we've got that, in order to print all of your customer statements, we can go to month end and PDF statements. Even though this is in the month end menu, we do not have to only print this when month end is ran. We included it here because generally when you run month end, you will also run statements. So we're going to click the PDF statements option, and you'll see that this window looks exactly like our previous window. However, this option will send or print the statements to all of your customers. whereas the previous option only sent it to the account you had on your dashboard. We can then choose the options that we want to have set again. So I'm going to just create PDFs because I don't want to email anybody. And then I'm going to click OK. As you can see, there are multiple customers in the list. We can uncheck that button to choose which customers that we want, either by holding Shift and clicking two spots, or by holding Control and clicking the customers that we want. We can then click Print, and it will begin printing the statements. Again, if you are printing the PDFs will be in this red PDF button, and we should see this folder populate as the statements get printed. So we can see we have one customer, and there will be more as more are generated. That concludes the video on statement profiles. If you are looking for month end, we also have a video on how to do month end. And if you have any questions or would like to make modifications to your statements, let us know via a ticket.